Sure.
Things that make you go.
You're like you're like one of them Bill Shakespeare's.
It's Herbie Shakespeare. Are we recording?
We are now.
And now we are recording. Welcome to the What's Up, Bro podcast. I am Neuroscience. With me, as usual, is Missy.
Hello.
And Mercadal, Mike Mercadal.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to start going by my last name only, Mercadal.
I mean,
Mercadal, like, maybe, just like literally force people to address the fact that they can't pronounce it properly.
Why can't they pronounce it properly? That's not a difficult name.
Dude, I have no idea. It's just.
But your whole life or just in New York?
Well, everyone does the emphasis on the wrong syllable thing. They do the accents on the E, on mer. So they say mercadal. Or no, the accent on the second one. So mercadal. So even Latinos are like mercado, and they pause because they're expecting to see mercado, but then they're like mercado.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's it. Last names only.
I'm just trying to fix that.
And you are Neri, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like the fact that Mike is
cut. We're gonna have to start all over.
I already said that. Did I not say that? I'm Neuroscience. With me as usual. I said that. These are things that I said.
No, but you were also futzing with the camera.
Yeah. I like the fact that Mike is talking to me about people always mess up my name. Oh, really, Mike? Is that so? Is that so? Right. Have I said my name yet? It's Neri. Have I talked about how...
Neri is not a hard name.
It's not a hard name.
It's not
a hard name.
You would
name
think
for a man.
You have no idea how many times I get Nuri. You have no idea how many times I get Nuri in my fucking life. I've probably had people say Nuri more often than they've said my name correctly. That's how many times I've had people call me Nuri. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's when they see my name.
Together.
That's when they see my name spelled. If I just tell them Larry, they go Larry. It's a whole process. Larry, Jerry, Gary, Barry, Harry. It's a whole fucking thing. Yeah. It's like literally like that. When I worked at call centers, this would be like one of my very first ideas for a joke would be because I was working at a call center when I started doing stand up. And they would be like, and I would say, hey, thank you for calling so-and-so cruise line. This is Neri speaking. How may I help you? And they would say, Larry? And I say, no, sir, Neri. Gary? No, Neri. Harry? No, Neri. Jerry? Barry? Harry? And then they would go, Alex? And I go, yep. Nailed it. That's it. Yep, that's it.
It's like in the Lego movie with Batman where he throws a million things and he's like, first try.
Yeah, exactly. That, and it was at the end they would either say Alex or they would say Mike. And they go Larry, Jerry, Barry, Gary, Harry, Mike. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, in the hospital we deal with names all the time. I can't share, like technically, I can't share any of the names that I've heard. But I had one today that I really can't say. I can't really. It would be. I can't say it, but it's basically like a racial epithet.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
They were like Chink Lee.
No, but it's like.
That's by the way. I went through the Rolodex of racial epithets that I could possibly fucking try to say, and it was like,
I don't believe you should have said any of them.
But I was like, in my mind, I was just going through.
But the idea, so like, it's one of those names where, like, on paper, it's like, I used to have that joke about when I was on, like, Match.com. That's how old this joke was. Where they have to do the screen name because it's like AOL, whatever. You have to they don't want you using your real name anymore. At the beginning on Match, you have to use the screen name. And this one girl, the way the joke goes is that this girl, I'm assuming her real name is Anna, and then she thought she was going to be fun and Fergalicious, also another like dating reference for the joke. And she decided to make her name Annalicious, but when you see it all smashed together like that, I was like, Analicious. Wink. Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's your name? Is this what you're about?
What's your story?
What's your name? What's your sign? It's like that, like where you didn't, like if you don't, like separately they are harmless, but when they it formed like a Voltron of racism.
Voltron of racism.
Yeah.
That's the name of the episode. Voltron of racism.
Yeah. That should get us some listen.
Let me write that down. Voltron of racism. Yeah.
Or Analicious. I think that's a good name for the episode too.
I thought it was funny when that song came out, and I was like, I would always make, like, it's that wink at the camera when there's no camera around, but I would do that thing when I was like mockingly saying like, "Oh, Narylicious." I thought it was funny, right? And but I would say it in like super sarcastic, like, "Oh, girl," yeah, like that, like just super sarcastic, like, you know what I mean? And then I just thought to myself, I bet you this fucking, because I know I've met women in my life who are named Nary. And
I had a girl in my high school,
and I bet you there's a fucking one that put that in some kind of profile dating, like in some kind of like, this is my username is Narylicious.
I bet, and that's when you do the Jim face, the camera, where you do that thing where like the action that they're like Narylicious. Just awkward. This is a visual joke for the podcast.
Go to the YouTube. Go to
God damn.
Watch it on YouTube. Damn it.
Go to the YouTube for WuBro. You know what's funny? I had a couple of people contact me on Instagram, and they were like, "Hey, does WuBro have a YouTube?" And I go, "Yeah," and they said, "Yeah, because you guys kept referencing it in one of the episodes," and I was like, "Wait, what? What am I missing?" And I had to like send them the link. I was like, "Yeah, no." You could just look up WuBro. It's a thing. And they're like, oh, and then they were like, no, but I thought you had like a channel. I'm like, yeah, we do have a channel. I felt for a second.
We need 100 subscribers to get a fucking URL with the name in it.
I felt like for a second.
How far away are we?
97. 97 to go.
It's new and up and coming.
But I just love the idea that I was talking to like Michael Scott. And he was like, "Have you contacted YouTube? Have you told them that we're gonna have a press conference?" And they're like, "Yeah, I
saw a post one time, and I'm sure it was like a kid or something like that. They're like, "How do I get YouTube to come out to my house? I'm doing funny shit all the time." And I was just like, "Oh, that's sweet. What a nice. I like wholesome ignorance. I like wholesome like, it's like, oh,
what is the preferred? Yeah,
preference." I don't know. That's just anyways. So
you guys?
We've been gone for a couple weeks as far as recording. The last time we left you with a great episode with Angelina Castro. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It feels weird now because it feels like we're friends. Like I'm like, oh, because like, she'll comment on my post now, and it's like, oh,
sure.
And I'm like, this is weird because I'm still watching your porn, though, right? Like I'm still. I mean,
I'm sure it's not weird to her.
No, I'm talking about to me. Of course, it's not to her. Like she's not supposed to talk to anybody who watches her porn. She'll be like the loneliest lady in the world. But
she didn't see. Honestly, she was dope. She did not. She seemed so cool. Like think about this. We spent an hour and a half with her. Like she was on the pod. We like hung out for a whole fucking. Like we got into shit and just like chit chatting and talked like I would talk with you or whoever, like a friend. So it's like a fast forward friendship.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If any of my actual friends would get into porn, I would like, no, I can't watch that. That's a friend of mine. I can't watch. You know what I mean? And not to use Missy, but she's the only female on the fucking, and since I'm heterosexual, if Missy started doing porn, I would be like, no, I can't. That's my friend. I can't watch Missy's porn. I can't fucking do that. There's like a line, right? There's like
what if I started doing porn? You're leaving me.
Well, I would watch it, but it would be more of a critique. It would be more like to give you like, hey, I think what you should be doing is take off your keys because you have this whole thing where your keys are on. By the way, that's a super inside baseball. Like literally, only me and him know this. Mike one time hosted at the Miami Improv. This has got to be. How long have you been in New York, Mike?
Fuck, I mean, that must have been a decade ago.
How long have you been in New York?
In May, it was 7 years.
Yeah, so it had to be easily 8 to 9 years ago. he was hosting at the Miami Improv, and then afterwards he goes, "Hey, what'd you think?" I go, "Well, I think you should take off your keys." And he had his keys on his belt loop, on a belt loop, but in the front, like, and he had a suit jacket on, so he went on stage with jeans and a suit jacket, and then the keys, and he had like 50 fucking keys. I was like, "What are you, a janitor?
Yeah.
Why do you have so many keys?" It was an absurd amount of keys. It was an absurd amount of keys.
It was an absurd amount. It was like my car keys, my house keys, my work keys. I always had it like there,
plus
and I would
20
put it in my pocket. Huh?
Plus 20. You go. It was an absurd amount of keys, and then you mentioned 3 keys. I'm like, no, there were more keys.
No, but there's like a few keys on each of those.
For the locks, yes. There's multiple locks on doors. We live in Miami.
Well, the point being is that like I just didn't notice it because I always have the keys there. I even told myself I should take it off before going. This is so long ago. Holy fuck. Oh my God.
Mary never forgets.
Never. So that's how.
I like how you steered the conversation away from the question of like, if I did porn, would you watch it?
Well, I told you I would watch it, but to critique you, to like give you pointers, be like, hey, maybe you don't fuck with your keys on. Maybe this. Right. Maybe you don't. You know.
Yeah, that's what.
Like,
take your socks off.
No, the socks stay on.
No, you got to put them higher. You got to put like get knee high socks, like shit like this.
No,
like
I'm gonna get the garters that go around the calf, and then they clip onto the sock. You know those old time with the free elastic socks.
Right.
Like how Beyonce does it, like that.
Yep, that's right. No, garter. It goes around the calf. It was like they used to be. That's.
Oh yeah.
You know, speaking of Beyonce, I would pay very good money to watch Mike do porn, but like in one of those giant champagne bottles, glasses that Beyonce did that video in. Just remember that giant, it was like, she was in that champagne glass the whole time.
But so if you look at it through the champagne glass.
No, but you remember the video. Missy, do you not remember the video?
I do not. I'm looking it up.
She's
Beyonce,
like
champagne bottle.
She's champagne glass. It's not even a bottle. It's a champagne glass. It's like a bowl.
Oh, I know what song this is. Yes.
It's like, what song is it for the listener? Just so I could paint a better picture than one, because my Beyonce knowledge
it's not Naughty Girl. It was another, but it was from her second album. I forget the name of the song, but I know what it is.
Anyways, the whole video, she's like splashing around inside champagne glass, and I would pay good money to watch Mike do porn in that. Like, you got to be in.
It depends on which angle causes the most magnification, right? Because it's a curved surface. I would have to position myself appropriately for the angle, right?
What is happening?
There used to at a place I used to work at, the bath. In the bath. I work in a hospital, so it's shared bathrooms. It's like there's never been gender or anything, so it's always been bathroom with women. And then at some point they set up the bathroom. Someone put the garbage can right next to the toilet. And the garbage can was like a little lower than crotch level, but it was like one of those garbage cans that had like a shiny dome.
Oh, right. Top. Yeah.
So it does like that fisheye lens. And every time I would go to pee, it would just make my dick look huge in the reflection, just in the fisheye lens. And I would just stand there for a second as I'm peeing, and I'd be like, well, I mean, I could admire, like, how long can I sit here and look at my artificially enlarged penis and just revel in it before it's weird?
Narrator. It was Mike who moved the garbage can there. Somebody moved the garbage can next to the Mike. It was Mike that moved the garbage can next to the toilet.
Bro, I'll tell you this.
Narrator. He also purchased one for his house. Like that's what.
I'm like, hey, y'all know who orders the trash cans in the bathroom? Y'all know what model that is? Anybody? Who does that? Who does the purchasing? No, anyone? I'm sharing a bathroom. The hospital has changed a lot of things when it comes to sharing like a bathroom with women. Like women are equally as gross when it comes to that.
I think women are grosser. I gotta be honest, every time I've gone into a women's bathroom, because out of necessity, either they're cleaning the men's bathroom or the men's bathroom is locked or whatever the fuck it is. There have been many a time in many corporate offices, like I'm talking about professional settings, that I've walked into a woman's bathroom and been like, "Oh, you guys are fucking gross." Oh, I'd rather go into the guy's bathroom. I'd rather do that. No, you guys are no. Shame on you, ladies. Shame on you.
Well, not
all of us.
No, but I'm talking about as a whole.
You know who it is? The hoverers. The hoverers are assuming that the bathroom is dirty, so they're just going to do a thing where they are going to make it dirtier in the process. Like, they don't care to keep it clean. So rather than just sit down and pee directly into the toilet, they will do the hover and not let their butt touch it. And then not all of them have the quad strength to hold the hover steady. There's no way you're doing it, especially if you're dropping a deuce. Like, there's no way you're pulling that off strict hover.
Yeah, there's a lot. Next time you're in next time you're in an office building, take a look at the ladies around and think about how many of them actually have the quad strength to air squat and drop a deuce.
Yeah.
And when you look around and you notice you don't have the quad strength for that, then they're the ones fucking mucking it up for everybody.
It
they're the ones.
depends on your strength and the level of concentration. Honestly.
But also,
if you're not concentrating, you can get messy.
But those are the ladies that will leave sprinklets all over the seat and floor,
and not clean up after themselves.
Not clean because they're like, oh, it was dirty anyway. It's like,
correct.
Man, don't even get me started. Oh, I'm gonna get gross. Never mind. I don't want to get gross.
No, do it.
But don't get me started on. There have been times where I have, like I lift the toilet seat because I stand to pee. I don't sit down to pee, so I lift the seat out of common courtesy, and there's fucking blood under the seat.
Ugh.
These people are pulling their tampons out like they're starting a lawnmower or something. Like, how is it getting all over the place?
Next name, starting a lawnmower. There you go.
Like, where is it? Why is it? I don't get it.
I got a mental picture of somebody starting a lawnmower after they've already killed somebody with the lawnmower. After they've already killed somebody with the lawnmower, and there's blood on the blade, and then you start the fucking lawnmower.
And then, so sometimes I'll leave the toilet seat up so that they can see it. Someone
see your mess.
Live in your shame. And then I don't care about periods and stuff like that. I'm a medical professional. Like, periods do not gross me out at all. It's the fact that
the aftercare.
If you're gonna hover, just put it's. But it's also like then afterwards, someone will say like, "Oh my God, it's so gross." One of the ladies I work with, because it's it's predominantly female. They're like, "Oh my God, the bathroom's so gross," and it's like, "That's you." No, like, if there was blood coming out of me, I would be in the emergency room. I would not just be like leisurely walking around like, "Hey, weird, right?" No,
you did it.
It's you. And then everyone always points the finger or whatever. And then
it's disgusting.
There's like, I remember I was in the bathroom. I came out one time and someone was like, "What were you doing in there?" And I'm like, "Finishing my novel." What the fuck you think I was doing in the bathroom?
Finishing my novel.
What are you doing in there? Talking to my lawyer.
Yeah. It's like, what did you think? Bacon cookies. What did you think I was doing in there?
What people doing bad?
And it's like, oh my God, it smells like shit in here. It's like, that's where the shit goes.
I was doing my taxes. I'm sorry.
Where the shit goes? Of course it smells like shit in here. If it smells like shit anywhere else, that's a problem. It smells like shit here. It's like working as planned.
Because some people operate under the rule, the self-imposed rule that you're not supposed to shit in public bathrooms.
Public, it's a work bathroom.
Okay, work bathroom could be a public bathroom too, depending on your. The corporate office was a public bathroom, and people would walk in and complain, "Oh, it smells like shit." Like, what do you want? Like, people are here for 10 hours a day. Yeah. I don't know anybody that can hold it.
I only shit on company time. I only do it. I make it a point. I'll hold it till I get to work.
You know what? I will say this
for free.
I will say this. A few years ago, I did stay over at Mike's house when I was in New York, staying in New York for a couple of days, and his bathroom did smell great. Did not smell like shit. Because I'm assuming it's because he's taking a shit at work. Taking a shit.
My bathroom at home is fucking spotless.
The more you know.
Well, it took 292 episodes of this podcast, 8 years. but we finally got through our shit. We finally talked about shit and shitting, and that's what we're doing now.
Did it.
That's what we did it, guys.
I feel like we're closer now.
It's not really. It's the social construct around work bathrooms. That whole social dynamic.
Yeah.
And yes, women are disgusting. It's not men.
But it makes me laugh like that.
People.
There's that scene from the Office when Mike is. I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it's when Ryan takes Mike to business school, and they go to. I think it's that episode where they go to a bathroom somewhere. They stop by at a rest stop. I may be wrong. And then Mike, they show Mike coming out of the women's bathroom, and he looks deadpan to the camera, and he goes, "The guy's bathroom was disgusting. The men's bathroom was disgusting." And it's a super hilarious clip, but I'm like, no. Every time I watch it, I laugh and immediately I go no though. But no, it's not though. It's not it can't be worse than the women's bathroom though. It's not gonna be. So I think you're wrong.
I remember when in the episode where they all were Michael Scott. I do think it's hilarious you call him Mike.
Right, everybody calls him Mike.
No.
Everybody calls him Michael Scott.
Never. His name is Michael Gary Scott.
Unless we're talking about Prison Mike.
Prison Mike.
Date Mike.
Yeah.
There's Prison.
Mike.
There's Prison Mike. There's Date Mike. It's Mike.
Right, but I don't know. It's just weird that you call him Mike. There's an episode where he takes all the women. Women's appreciation, whatever.
Women's appreciation. It takes them to the mall.
Takes it to the mall, and then the guys are all left back in the office, and then they go into the women's bathroom, and they're like, "It's so fucking nice in here."
Because Kevin walks. I just saw this episode yesterday. Kevin walks in. He's talking to Jim, and he's like, "Should we go into the girls' bathroom?" And Jim's like, "I don't think we should." And he's like, "I'm going." And he walks in, and as the door's closing, you see Kevin go, "You've got to be kidding me." It's like a whole new world.
Yeah. I remember when I discovered in my school that the one of the girls' bathrooms had a chair and a couch to sit on and chill out in there, and I'm like,
what?
Why would you want to? Why would you want to?
Cool.
You guys go ahead.
Private school either.
Yeah,
it was just straight up
You guys go ahead and drop that deuce. I'll be sitting here reading my magazine. What? No,
that's awkward.
Fucking weird.
I can't even watch. Yesterday, I was watching Friday, as one does on a Sunday, and you know the scene where he goes in to talk to his dad in the toilet?
Oh, yeah.
I was watching it with my AirPods, and I forgot that they intentionally, for comedic purposes, leave the juice dropping sound in there. I had to skip, because I was like, I just ate.
The plops and bloops. Yeah, they do it.
The plops, and then he's pushing, because I guess he's constipated. I'm like, this was funny when I was 12, but not now.
Why were you watching Friday? What about Friday?
It's a great movie.
Motivated to watch Friday? Is that your go-to movie that you watch?
No. My go-to movie
I would say two. Can I give two guests? I want to give two guests. One, Clueless, and or two, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I cannot confirm nor deny that statement.
Why?
Yes, it's true. Both of them are my go-tos. And a good third pick would have been Reality Bites. But those three are the trifecta, yes.
Yeah, they're constantly watching those movies. She's constantly watching those movies.
Those are the comfort movies, like comfort food or comfort, whatever.
Thank you. I can't self-medicate with food anymore. I had to switch the movies.
That's a total anxiety thing, though. I know,
it is
because you have the comfort of knowing what's going to happen next, and it's that very familiar feeling. I was talking to somebody about their kind of having ADD focused issues and all that stuff, and it was one of those things that I started doing was movie soundtracks of movies that I know front to back, like Back to the Future or whatever, like Jurassic Park. If you're doing something, have that music on in the background, because you still have that part of your brain that's picturing and remembering all of the other stuff, but it's not active. It's in the background. So you have your brain work, and then it kind of gives you a little bit more ability to not let that take over, because it's not like the images of the movie are in your face. It's
the sound. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with I'm trying to cut this habit out because it's not good. But I will fall asleep with the TV on, and I'll essentially put a rerun on because I will just use it as like a weird meditation tool because I know the dialogue pretty well, and then I'll just fall asleep and But it's not good. I know it's
you
not
should
good,
try and switch to like a white noise and not associate it with people talking.
Well, I've been getting into ambient sounds on YouTube. You know, there's like 3 or 4 hours worth of this kind of shit, and it's fantastic for your anxiety.
Yeah, there's one that is all the sounds of the Star Trek, like the
instrumental,
grid, the instrument panels, not the instrumentals. Like it's literally just the background sounds of Star Trek, and it's 10 hours long.
Well, there's one for there's one
got that
for
low
Hogwarts.
hum and there's a Hogwarts one.
There's a Hogwarts one. There's one for Lord of the Rings. There's Game of Thrones. Then I found, because YouTube is a wormhole, I ended up finding like somebody made one that's 3 hours long. It's like a cabin, and I put on in the porch of the cabin, and it's raining outside, and it's just ambient sound. Like my 56-inch fucking TV finally helps me with my anxiety instead of just wasting my time.
You can do. Someone gave me one of those Google Nest speaker things, and then so normally in the summer, like I have my AC on and stuff, but it's cool up here now, so it's like too quiet. I have tinnitus, so like I just hear the beep, like I need something. So I'm just like, Google, play ocean noises, and then like it'll just do it. Google has like a whole like Google, rock me to sleep gently next to a beach. Google, please feed me grapes while
Make me forget.
Google, hug me. Oh, Google hugs you.
Oh shit, my Google just responded. Hey, Google, stop. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious.
Guys, I don't think Trump won this election. I'm looking at the numbers, and it's not looking good for him. I mean, I know we're recording on November 20 something, but yeah, I think he lost.
We were last time we were recording, it was a question mark. And now we're still, I mean, it's not a question mark, but it was like.
No, last time we were recording, we recorded like a week after like it was one of those things where we weren't sure. Like there wasn't a definitive.
No, wasn't it like election day or day before the election?
No, we recorded the day before election and we recorded the day after.
The day after the election, and it hadn't been called yet. And remember, I even asked the question. I was like, is this one of the closest races that we can remember, like in recent history? Like I actually asked that shit out loud, which now knowing the numbers sounds fucking absurd and ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah.
But the day after the election, there was a lot of unknown. Oh man, this is like tit for tat. They're going for tit for tat over here. And
well, because none of the counts have been released from the mail and stuff, so like it was it's the same shit.
But those votes don't count.
It's crazy watching them flail, and it's crazy watching them flail and not having people just be like, "The fuck is wrong with you, man? Give up." Like you lost. And like if the Dolphins stayed on the field after everybody left the stadium and were like, "Nope, we demand to look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard's not changing, man. The game ended." Like like say whatever you want, Brian Flores. I like how I've made the Dolphins the villains in this situation where they're like, no, because they know that the game ends and you lose.
Yeah, you go. Hey, it's over. At the time of this recording, the most recent lawsuit that got thrown out was the one against Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania. And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania was like dismissed it. And the wording that they use, I don't have it in front of me, but it was so like, stop it, guys, stop it. Like there's nothing. They were like, this is un-American. What you're doing is un-American. Stop it. Like it was
to a kid.
Yeah,
like,
it sounded like they like rolled up their newspaper to hit you on the nose and be like, eso no se hace, no se hace. And I'm like, it just, I was
deja eso.
And I was like,
God.
and it's like a Republican governor, Republican, like when your own people are like, the numbers don't lie. Like the guy literally said that number. He goes, I'm a starch. He goes, I'm a diehard Trump supporter. The guy literally said this in Pennsylvania and in Georgia. I'm a diehard Trump supporter, but numbers don't lie. Like he had to say, numbers don't lie. Like he's like,
if you're bringing logic, there's something serious.
Yeah, I was like, and then they fired, again at the time of this recording yesterday. They fired that crazy lawyer who was crazy. And I made the joke to my friend. I was like, how crazy do you got to be that that this current administration, which is fucking wackadoodle, goes, hey, whoa, get her the fuck out of here. Like she's too, like this is like, she's nuts. Like this fucking, out of all this administration is like, she's too crazy for us. It's like, really? This is where you draw the line? You guys had a fucking, had a press conference in front of Four Seasons construction site. Like, are you really like that? This is where you draw the line?
My favorite was in Michigan, where they were like straight up saying, it's like, yeah, we'll certify the votes in the rest of the state, but not in Detroit. It's like, what? Where all the black people? Of course, that's what you want.
But
They're not subtle.
But did you hear what she? Going back to that crazy lawyer, did you hear what she said? Did you hear the shit that she said?
Hugo Chavez.
Yes, that she said that Hugo Chavez
beyond the grave.
He's been dead for like 6 years. She said Hugo Chavez rigged the election, and I'm like, why would he rig the election? What?
But he's dead. I had to Google. I had to look it up. I'm like, wait, that guy's dead, right?
Is he dead? Is he dead or is he Tupac dead?
No,
that's the question we need to look into.
She mentioned specifically. She mentioned Venezuela. The way she said it was hilarious to me. She said Venezuela and Russia, and I'm like, but Russia's your buddy. Like that's. Russia's your buddy. Like, why would Russia do this to him? Like, Russia's his buddy. Like, that's right? They were like, found guilty. Like, oh my God.
You have kids, right? Like, you have kids, so you know that when they're caught doing something wrong, there's that tantrum of like, they're gonna do the thing that they like. Oh, like let's say they're trying to sneak a cookie, and then you catch them, and then they're like, oh, and they try to shove as many cookies in their mouth as they can before you take it away from them. That's literally what's happening right now. They're like
narrator. Wait, narrator. Mike was a really fat kid, and he would shove cookies in his mouth at all times.
Or whatever.
I have yet to catch my kid sneaking food off, and then when they get caught, smush as much as they can in their mouth. Usually they go, I was sneaking cookies in my pocket. Here are the cookies that I had in my pocket. You went with.
It's not. It's actually it's a psychological thing that happens in terms of like behavioral stuff. That it like at a certain point when you like, let's say a kid is a repeated bully or whatever. And the more and more you try and crack down on it, the kid's going to start lashing out even more at everybody and all stuff. I forget the exact term of it, but it's like this increase in the behavior before it drops off. If you like, where you have to continue correcting. That's what's happening right now with the Trump people. Is like they thought they were going to have a whole other 4 years to be criminals, and now they can't. So they're like, no, the Hugo Chavez, the aliens, QAnon. You know, like they're just like they're scrambling to try and figure out like what to blame it on so that they can continue to do what they've been doing, which is avoiding prison. You know what I mean? That's literally what.
But here's the thing with me. Like when I hear them do it, I understand because of everything you're saying. Like Edward Norton wrote a fucking great thread thread describing the reasons for the behavior of what he's doing, right? And it was on Twitter, and it's a fucking fantastic thread. If you haven't looked it up, go look up what Edward Norton tweeted about it. It's phenomenal. It's a great thread. But I could understand why they're doing it. What gets me are his and I'm gonna steal a phrase here from a fellow Geek Bro Network podcaster DJ who said from Pero Let Me Tell You, who said these are his followers, not supporters, because there is a difference between supporting and following. And the followers are like fucking brainwashed fucking people who are like, just like whatever he says, I'm cult fucking members. Like they're just cult members. That's the difference. Like he went through.
People that buy merch.
Yeah, like his DJ from Better Let Me Tell You had an amazingly accurate description and of showing you the both, like definition of both. Like you could be a supporter, and this is what a supporter is, and you could be and then there are his followers, and that's what these people are. They're fucking followers, like cult members, and they give this whole thing. And so what it's hard for me to rationalize, because again I'm not fucking crazy, so it's hard for me to rationalize with crazy people, is to see the behavior from those followers, not supporters, followers, and the shit that they're spewing. And it's like, and even the quote unquote calm ones, when they go, can you believe this shit? They're fucking stealing the election. And I'm like, yeah, what? That's like, I've heard people say that. I've heard people that I personally know say that. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, can you believe this shit? Fucking. And then the fun ones are the ones in Spanish, right? My uncle, right? And can you believe this shit? Lo están robando. The fucking thievery that's going on. And like, can you believe this shit? And I'm like, they're just gonna let these people rob them? I'm like, rob them of vote? Like, they counted votes? Like, I don't understand. They counted votes. And then I was like,
not be any more counting.
But the funny thing to me, I was like, at this moment, at the time of this recording, it's like almost 7 million difference. Like, and in 7 million, you can't come up with like, bro, look at this million, look at this 500,000 votes here. Like, you can't come up with any like, hey, this is proof. And that's what that crazy lawyer was saying. She's like, I'm gonna unleash the Kraken of evidence. She kept saying that phrase, I'm gonna unleash the Kraken of evidence. And then when the reporters were like, what kind of evidence do you have? She's like, I have a Kraken. That's how fucking crazy she was. That fucking Rudy Giuliani with his hair dye dripping down his fucking face,
oh my God,
like Jack Nicholson's Joker, goes.
No, you know,
she's crazy.
Right? I've seen it a bunch of places, crazy. But I got it immediately. The Rudy Giuliani stuff looks like the thing in The Fifth Element when Gary Oldman has that black shit drip on his face.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but yes, that is fucking, yes, that's perfect.
Yeah, I posted it up on my Twitter, and then I saw it everywhere, and I'm like, that's my overused bullshit. That's my low-hanging fruit joke. I took the lowest fruit.
How dare you? Fucking, how dare you reference a very highly successful and popular movie and that I'm referencing? How dare you, sir?
You know what this recounting stuff is like? You know when you're dating somebody that's really, really insecure and you're like, I like you. And then they're like, no, but do you really like me? And then you're like, yeah. And they're like, but do you really like me? And you have to keep repeating yourself over and over again, or the opposite when you're like, it's over. And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, yes, it is. It's over. And they don't get it. Like, that's what this feels like. You're trying to break up with somebody and they don't fucking get it. It's over. And
yeah.
More the second one. It's more the second one, because we clearly know that we've expressed that we don't want him anymore. And then he's like, he did the George Costanza where he leaves his furry hat at your place. And then he's got to come back again to pick it up. Or the one where the girl's like, I'm breaking up with you. And he's like, I'm breaking up with you. And she's like, no. And then he's like, well, and then they just keep eating and continue dating. And she's like, no, I don't accept the terms of our breakup. It's
yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's like it's that needy comedian who went up on stage. He goes, hey, did you see my set? It's like, yeah. Did you like it? Yeah, it was good. But like, tell me, but did you really like
specifically that you want to suck my dick?
I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say.
Which part did you like when it was over? God damn it!
Which joke is good? It's like the set was fun.
Well, I'm glad you asked me, because I took out a notebook and I wrote some notes down for you. And my note for each one of your jokes is after the first joke, I wrote hilarious. Good. The second joke, I wrote, oh my God, that is amazing. So like that's what they want you. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear the fucking breakdown, joke by joke, of like you stroking. Is like, can you do me
ESPN app?
Can you do me a favor? Can you just stroke my ego for the next fucking X amount of time? Like, I just need to stroke my ego, and that's.
I've been there, man. I know that feeling. I know that feeling exactly. Where you just wanted somebody to tell you did a good job, and then you come off stage because you feel like there's times where you know you had a good set, but then you want to make sure that, did I hear it right? That's the insecurity shit that happens all the time, where you're like, that would happen to me all the time. I'd come off stage and then I'd be like, they were like laughing and all that stuff, and I'm like, maybe it was just one table that was laughing really loud. Did I get the real experience? I start doubting it.
I have the opposite reaction. I have the opposite thing where I go, fuck, bro. Like, I get mad at an audience when they're talking too much or something, and I get mad, and then people are like, And then when I get off stage, people were like, "What are you talking about?" They were fucking dying laughing, and I'm like, "Nah." Like I had this shit like in my head where they like I don't. I'm like, no. They were fucking no. And then doing this, I'm such a whore. This is how much of a whore I am. That I have gotten off stage hating audience members, like hating audiences as a whole, like to that, that old hacky joke of like, next time you guys get offered to be an audience together, don't take that offer. Like just fucking, like you guys are awful. I fucking hate you. And I'm like angry, like piss and vinegar angry, like fuck these motherfuckers. Because the first show I did the same set and it was fucking great. This is the second show. You guys are assholes. I hate you. And then they end up buying so many T-shirts, and you go, "Oh, you know what? They're good though, bro. They were right. They were fine. You know what happened? What happened was, bro, is like the late show, so they were a little tipsy, but it was fine." They're like that. I'm such a whore that my perception of how good or bad of an audience you are can totally be waived, can totally be changed by how much merchandise you buy. Like I'm that fucking dude.
Shh. You have company.
20 minutes.
No. Don't say anything bad.
Say hi, wife.
Revision is based on movement.
I like the fact that she came up to me. She knows that we're doing video, and then she came up to me, and then she was like whispering, like, "Hey, are you almost done?" And I was like, "What?" Fucking, you're on video, like everybody could fucking see and hear you. Yeah.
I would have loved to see her open the door, see the camera, and then do like one of those like Navy SEAL rolls, like a stealth, like ha, and then just kind of like jump up at you.
So
I have a very vivid imagination.
Her whole family's here because of Thanksgiving, which I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in a podcast in the past. I'm not a fan of the holiday. But her whole family's here, which would include like her brother, her parents, and they're all staying in my house.
The opposite of social distancing?
You know.
Danger.
Oh boy.
So those are facts. I just mentioned. Oh. Yeah, I could come up with a good "Am I the Asshole" right now on the spot, but yeah, let's do one from Reddit.
Which one? There's so many to choose from.
I didn't read any of them, but I think I enjoy the ones where we could take either side because.
You want to do the vacation one?
I didn't read any of them personally, so
Missy, you read them, right? Do you want to do the brother pregnant one with the pregnant girlfriend? The vacation one?
I don't know how far back that was, but yeah.
We'll do this one here.
Do the vacation one.
Am I the vacation? How do I, 28 female, and my wife, 27 female, renegotiate boundaries with my family regarding money and vacations? I, 28-year-old female, have been married to, quote, Summer, a 27-year-old female, for 6 years.
So it's
my
two
wife
women.
And I both have
it's two women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My wife and I both have well-paying careers, and we're both women, so no kids for the time being. Because we're well off, we've shared our money with my brother, air quotes, Nathan, who's 33, and his family, 33-year-old wife, 8-month-old, 6-year-old, and 8, 6, and 4 years old.
Put a TV in your room.
I mean, there's a lot. There's already too many kids. So we can go on a nice vacation together a couple of times. My brother and his family are not well off, so they'd never be able to afford trips on their own. Because they have 4 fucking kids. We don't pay for 100% of these trips, but we pay for the overwhelming majority of it and do all of the planning, booking, travel arrangements, etc. Summer is a doctor, and this year has been extremely hard on her with the epidemic. I don't think she was this stressed during med school, and I've done everything I can to support her, taking over all the chores around the house, cooking every night, renegotiating my work schedule so I can always be home before she is, and have dinner ready for her, etc. That's very nice. With the vaccine news looking like there's finally light at the end of the tunnel, I started researching a dream vacation for the two of us. One of those trips we talked about doing but never seemed to have the time or money for. it's obviously too soon to make any concrete plans, but even assuming pre-COVID prices and whatnot, we couldn't have the event luxury spending to go on vacation or do anything super fancy again for at least a few years. Possibly more depending on how the dust settles. Summer and I have talked about it and agreed to do this. Well, my brother noticed me posting on Facebook about planning the vacation and said our prospective vacation seemed like it would have nothing to do for his kids. It had nothing for his kids to do. I told him that we were looking at a vacation for just the two of us for something we love. No one else was coming on this trip. My brother blew up at me, yelling about how we're selfish and rob his kids of their childhood adventures and chances to see the world. I told him that it was our money, and we had agreed on how to spend it. My brother got even angrier and admitted he did not help. And I got even angrier, and I admittedly did not help when I made a reply saying, "We want to dive all day, drink all evening, and fuck all night. No one else is welcome." And in the end, I appealed to my mother to help, since she's always been the peacemaker in the family.
Mom, can you fucking tell him we want to fuck all night? Can you tell him? Can you explain to him that I want to fuck all night?
I'm trying to fuck. Big mistake. Not only did my mother take his side, she mentioned that she was expecting my wife and I to help out with my nieces and nephews' college educations as well. Something that my brother had never mentioned. She says it's not fair that I lucked out and got a great job doing stuff with computers while my brother risks his life every day on his job, not saying what he does for his friends. As tempting as it is to blow up at my family in return, does anyone have any experience with negotiating firm boundaries with family over money issues like this? I love my family and I do want to help, but I also want to give Summer the vacation she deserves and not be obligated to give my family money whenever they ask. Also because Summer and I have been putting away money in separate fund to start attempting to have children of our own. The TLDR is wife and I have been paying for family vacations, want to do something big for just the two of us. Family acts like they're entitled to our money, need advice in renegotiating boundaries. The floor is yours.
Yeah, that's I don't think there's any possible way that the two women are not the asshole, right? They're clearly the asshole on this one. I mean, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I just like to see Missy. He's like, what the fuck?
Missy had a genuine moment.
Yeah, she had a moment of like, what? Yeah, can you believe they're stealing this election? Yeah, no, this is one of those things.
What channel am I on?
Yeah, this is one of those things where you go, no, there's no way this is anybody else's. Like, yeah, I mean, there's no two sides of this argument. There is no two sides of this argument. You can't get mad when your family doesn't pay for your vacation just because they've been paying for your vacation in the past. Like, it's not their job. They've been doing it because they've been nice. You can't all of a sudden get mad at them when they're no longer like it's not like they're not being courteous. They're fucking being uber nice. They're going above and beyond what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Like I get it. You know, like I get it that you get used to certain things.
Yeah, this is the alimony of fucking brothers. Yeah. Excuse me, I've been used to a certain way of life for like the last
accustomed way of life.
I'm accustomed to you paying for my entire family, which by the way, there's too many of us. Like this, you can't. I mean,
there's 6 of them.
That's a lot, dude.
4 kids, all under 10.
I can't even imagine. Like, even a Disney weekend would cost a fucking fortune. That's just a regular Disney weekend.
And here's the problem. Like they're like, where one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone like works really hard to be good at something, and they start calling them lucky. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you lucked out and got a great job doing stuff with computers. It's like, well, why didn't you try to learn computers and put yourself in a position to then also have a good job?
That's for fucking nerds, Mike. It's for fucking nerds.
Exactly. They didn't do the thing that got there. It's like, well, he risks his life all day, every day on his job.
Remember the late 80s, early 90s? Like if you fucking mentioned that you like computers, you were branded a nerd. That shit was hilarious. That's like, oh fucking nerd.
Like,
what are you, a nerd? Like,
Gary Goldman. That's one of my favorite like a typing class.
Oh, yeah.
Like, typing class. What is that for broad?
Yeah, it's for dames, right? That's for dames.
What is that for the dames? It's for broad?
But teacher, this is for dames, all right?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like people like in the late 80s, early 90s, you mention computers,
I didn't realize
you're
how
done.
important typing would be.
But this is
I didn't realize. Yeah.
this is ridiculous.
But
This is
I
there's
don't
no
know.
way. That's come on. Who gives a
I think that there's another angle. Like I agree with both of you, and just I could go on and on and on about family boundaries and the disrespect. But I think another thing that you guys because I agree with both of you, they're not the assholes. But I just think also the other element is, why do I have to drag your kids? Like, why are you on top of the brother thing, on top of the assumption that you're just going to be, like, vacations are a want, they're not a need. And so, like, I don't have to. But why is it that now, on top of all the other disrespect, like, now I need to also make sure that I don't have kids, and I have to justify and defend why I want to go on a vacation with my wife or my husband because by myself. And
here's the other level
for being like, I want to fuck. Like, can I have a vacation where I fuck, please? And I'm your kids. Fucking rubbing hands all over the place.
Yeah.
I want to fuck my wife.
I'm not a fan. Here's what I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of this guy went on the Facebook post and started fucking and like immediately like. There's nothing for my kids to do on this trip.
It's unclear.
There's nothing for my kids to do on this trip. It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
The entitlement. It didn't say that he did that on the Facebook post. It said that like he then like mentioned it. I don't know if it's on the post or not, but I do think it's fucked up. Like, because here's the thing: if like let's say like I get crazy famous and I have $1 billion, I get an acting gig. I'm the next fucking Avenger, right? I'm a Marvel hero. And I get $1 billion, and someone hands me $1 billion, I would, of course, want to help some people out. You know what I mean? I would give money to my mom. I would give money to my brother. I would give money to other people, not you guys. And
I just thought really evil shit. I just thought really evil shit when you go, I give money to my mom. And I'm like, no, that would be a socialist thing to do. And your mom is very starch against that. She does not believe in socialism.
I would put it in a trust that means that my stepdad can't fucking touch it. Because he does not get handouts because he's a strong man and refuses handouts from anybody.
Yeah. Take your fucking flaming boxers. Take your flaming boxers and get the fuck out of here.
Good for you standing up for your principles. Don't you touch that fucking money. My mom's going to go on a vacation by herself. You stay home and you wash the fucking car or whatever. I don't know why wash the car seemed like a domestic thing for him. Well, I don't know why I went there.
You stay home and watch Fox News.
Yeah.
Until she gets back.
But the idea that like I would want to give people money, but at a certain point, to have the like audacity to be like, hey, where's that money that you gave us last time? I expecting it.
I noticed that Avengers 6 came out and you were in that.
Yeah.
So where's my money?
Send my children to Yale.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's so infuriating.
The
mom is also an asshole.
The mom is an asshole too.
The mom is an asshole because, first of all, I'm sure that the girl, the person, the author, went to her mom for kind of support, some kind of.
Well, she said that. She said, I went to my mom because she's usually the peacemaker.
Correct. Well, she fucking failed this time, Mom. You fucking failed.
We went to my mom because she's usually the peacemaker, and the mom was like, fuck you.
She had an opportunity to make it better, even if she disagreed with her. Like, let's say she still like innately agreed with the brother and not the sister. She could have still played that situation where there's some kind of understanding or something. Nah. But you're gonna.
She doubled down. She's like, I need to pay for their fucking college too. Like, what?
And you're sending them to college too. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not like at this
you
point.
Lucked out.
To, like the lake house.
Because you lucked out.
I wish you would say that shit to me.
You honestly, lucked out.
The audacity, like, there are a few things that will send me 0 to 100 like real fast, and spending my money is one of them. Like, don't spend my fucking money.
Yeah, I'm a pacifist at heart, but if you fuck with money, it's like,
I'm very easy. Like, I don't mind. I feel like I'm generous. I'll go above and beyond, and I'll help out. I'll pay for a meal. I don't care. Like, that shit doesn't bother me. But if you're coming to me and you're like, by the way, like, let's say this week I was supposed to be in Asheville and I pulled the plug at the last minute because I got scared to fly. See the numbers. But like, let's say a few weeks ago, when I've been like, I'm going to Asheville, and then they would have been like, cool, when do we leave? It's like, we're not fucking leaving. I'm going to fucking Asheville. And if that would have that could have very easily turned into a fight. But it would have been bad. And like, I've had to, like, as far as setting boundaries, which is what this lady starts off talking about, like, I personally have had to set some hard ass boundaries, and since they don't listen, the love language is flip the fuck out. So that's what I'll use. But it's infuriating to have somebody come and fucking slip you a bill for something that is none of your fucking business. Like, first of all, paying for college, if they want to go, is a responsibility designated to the fucking people who spawned you. It's not the fucking people that look out.
But here's where I disagree. Like, here's where I disagree. Socially speaking, there's a social construct in this country that the parent takes care of the child until they're 18 years old. Typically,
that long, huh?
Typically, children going to college are over the age of 18 for the most part, right? Obviously, there's some fucking, 17, I graduated when I was 7 or whatever. But with that said, college, if you want to go, is not up to me, the parent. I'm sorry to fucking tell you that. It's fucking not. You're fucking.
But the kids aren't saying pay for my college. They're fucking adults. They're saying.
I understand.
Here's where we get into
what I'm trying to get. What I'm just trying to say. All I'm saying is, it's not my responsibility. If you want to go to college, hey, guess what? My parents came to this country with fucking negative $0 in their fucking bank account, and if I wanted to go to college, it was they try to get me to study hard, and they try to get me to get good grades, and I didn't get good grades. I wasn't a fucking good student in high school. And so when I went to community college that I went to for 7 fucking years, I had to get financial aid, and I had to get all this shit, whatever. And I had to fill that out and figure that out. And I had to get a job at Blockbuster and all this shit there. It's not my parents' job.
Work,
it's not my parents' fucking job. It's my fucking responsibility if I want to go. Here's the thing. I didn't actually want to fucking go. I didn't actually want to go. So that's the thing. So I didn't actually really want to go. But my point is, if you really want to go to college, if you want to be a doctor, you know that from a fucking early, like, you're not 21 and go, you know what, I think I want to be a fucking doctor. You don't do that at 21. That's not the fucking goal. Like, it's not the parents' responsibility to pay for the college.
Norm. I've seen it, but that's not the norm. I understand totally what you're saying.
It's not the parents' responsibility. All I'm saying is, college is not a parent's job. It's your own job. You, Missy, have gotten 2 fucking degrees in the last 2 years. You know why? Not because your fucking mom saved up money, not because you have a fucking rich aunt who lucked out with computers. No, it's because you fucking wanted to. Yeah, you fucking wanted to. You wanted to go to college. You got your ass, and you've gotten 2 degrees in the last 2 years. You got your master's. It's not anybody else's responsibility. Who gives a fuck? Anyways,
it's true.
Stepping off my soapbox. That's my TED Talk. I wanted to touch really quick about the Johnny Depp, because I saw something on Johnny Depp this week. So Johnny Depp has parted ways, or I don't know what the fuck. He left the project of the Fantastic Beasts movies. So I was under the impression, and I know, like, again, I didn't really pay attention to this divorce case, because he's had a horrible divorce trial, very public and very nasty.
No, it wasn't a divorce. It wasn't divorce. This was a libel suit.
It was a
defamation suit, libel suit. So I've never seen anything like this. But again, I didn't pay attention throughout the summer because 2020, there's so much shit. But I didn't pay attention. So, but
not the biggest news story in the world.
What I did know, just from reading headlines, because as any loyal listener to WuBro knows, I'm a fucking headlines guy. But what I did know by reading headlines is that it was the overwhelming consensus that Johnny Depp was not the asshole. Like, if they were doing a live version of Am I the Asshole, Johnny Depp was not the asshole. right? That's what I'm to understand from reading the headlines, but I didn't actually get details. Then in a post recently on social media, there was a time where somebody asked him about, he was in full Jack Sparrow costume. It was behind the scenes.
Hospitals, yeah.
It was behind the scene, and somebody asked him, "Oh, what happened to your finger?" And he goes, "Oh, I got hungry and I bit and I ate it all and I ate it. It was whatever." But like he was making a joke of it, whatever. And then
it wasn't behind the scenes. It was that he was visiting. He used to visit hospitals for children in full costume, and then somebody asked him about his finger, and he couldn't really say that Amber Heard fucking chopped my finger off.
But I didn't. So that's the part that I didn't know. He's like, "Oh, I ate it, or whatever." And I'm like, "What?" But I'm in my mind, I'm watching this video, and I'm like, "What happened to his finger?" Like I didn't fucking know. So I started reading down the comments. Oh boy, and then I tell Missy, I'm like, "Missy, can you believe this?" And she's like, "What? You don't know?" And I go, "No." And she goes, I'm gonna save this for WuBro. So if you could give us a quick synopsis of Missy of what has happened, like how, what?
Okay.
You said that the finger thing didn't even scratch the tip.
Timer, and you have 30 seconds to sum up the entire.
Okay, wait.
Amber Heard,
am I summarizing the relationship or the libel case?
The libel case.
The scandal. Summarize the scandal.
The libel case. We get it. They broke up. Whatever. Move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go.
There's a lot of pressure. Okay, so they break up. The Sun runs an article as the breakup is happening, and Johnny Depp calling him a wife beater, if I'm not mistaken, is the term he used. And Johnny Depp has decided.
Wait. The Sun. The Sun is the newspaper, not the Sun, not their
Daily
Sun,
not a child.
Right. Yeah. The newspaper. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go.
So then he decides to file a $50 million defamation lawsuit against the Sun because claiming libel and defamation. Flash forward to the summer where they went to trial. And the details that came forth really contextualized that relationship more in the sense of that he wasn't so much of an abuser, more than the relationship was toxic as fuck.
You took way too long. You were not even
close. Shut up. Let her finish. Shut up. Let her finish.
Longer.
Shut up. Let her finish. Go ahead.
And then, Gary, you get it on him for nothing because that's
no, but he's saying stop. He's saying that's it. No, you ran out of time. I'm saying let him fucking
keep going.
So the details come forward. I personally, as a spectator to the shit show, I was like, I don't think this is a good idea because he's gonna end up letting out a lot more skeletons in the closet that he's gonna be comfortable with. But he went forward, and Johnny Depp doesn't listen to me anymore. So he went forward with the trial, and all kinds of shit came out. She allegedly took a shit on his bed one time during a fight. The missing finger is not him being whatever. She launched a bottle at him, and he lost. I think it was like a quarter of his finger.
The fingernail.
Was he abusive? Was an abusive relationship on both ends? Then there's audio that came out where she's basically confirming that she does get violent, yes, she does beat him or whatever, and then vice versa. There's evidence now. In all fairness, Johnny Depp doesn't come out completely vindicated in this because it just seems to the scale just seems to even out. Is what I'm trying to say.
I disagree.
But so, long story short, the trial went on for I think 6 weeks, something like that, and then they came back and the judge ruled against Johnny Depp. He lost the case, and now there's another one. Which, in my research for this episode, I found out that he's coming to America to fight this bitch in court because for another libel suit or defamation, something like that, $50 million he's coming after, and that will be next. We'll talk about that when that ends. But that's basically what happened, and so now he has lost. On top of the shit show of this entire thing, he had to walk away from this role, and now there's a petition.
They asked him to step down. He didn't just quit. They were hey,
they asked him. Yeah, they asked him to step away, and now there's a petition that I signed to get Amber Heard fired from Aquaman because if he's going to lose that role, that blockbuster paycheck, then she sure as fuck should have some kind of consequences at the very least, and don't get to be an Aquaman too. So I think that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Mike, why do you disagree that he did it?
I disagree. It's not even. And one of the hard things to like rectify here is the fact that she came out and said that she came out and basically said that she was the victim and he abused her. That has lingered so much, even though there's zero sense of physical assault, unless it's been literally almost self-defense on his part. So like, he is an abuse victim who was being abused and was like defending himself, but because he didn't handle everything perfectly, people are like, oh, he's also abusive. He's not. I don't think he's being abusive.
If it was the other way around, I don't think that from what I'm hearing. So if a man is beating the fuck out of a woman and a woman lashes out while getting beat up and fucking like scratches him, nobody would go, oh, she's being abusive too. Like they wouldn't say that, but because it's a man
they're both abusers.
Yeah, but because it's a man who's getting beat up. And listen, not to get too deep, but I've had a personal relationship in the past. One of my ex-girlfriends who was physically abusive towards me, like physically. I have a scar on my chin to this day because of that. You can't see it because I have a beard, but my point is, like, I've been in an abusive relationship where I had to sit there and take it, and psychologically, I knew at that moment during the times of physical abuse, I knew if I retaliate, I'm going to jail. Like if I defend myself, not retaliate, I was like, if I do something, I can't do anything but hold her down, hold her down in a sense where it leaves no like, please, like I can't do anything but that. So I didn't know any of that. I didn't know about the bottle being cut. I knew about her taking a shit on his bed, but I thought that was hilarious. As we've established in the first 15 minutes, of this episode, shit is funny. Yeah. So I thought that taking a shit in his bed was funny. I'm sorry.
If you this is one of those things where there's definitely like in custody hearings and in certain things like in legality of certain things like abuse, like assault and stuff like that, where the like men being the victims gets overlooked. Like they like where it's like where that's like the one spot where privilege is flipped for between men and women. The idea that a man would be mad at a woman and go to her house and shit on her bed. People would, and a celebrity, a woman who's like an actress and she's like working on a multi-million-dollar franchise is shitting in people's beds. If that was a man, they would have been like, what? Get this guy the fuck out of here.
A long time ago.
A long time ago. And the fact that, so there've always been rumors about, here, and I'll give you a perfect example. I'm in a group, like there's a comedians group, or I got joined some Facebook group of gossip, blind items and stuff like that about Hollywood gossip, because someone who used to come on my live podcast was a part of it, and it's fun, it's interesting. And I post jokes in there to see if they work and all that stuff. They, even after all of this came out, still think Johnny Depp is an asshole and all these things. I'm like, even since all of this stuff started unfolding, and there was old stories about like him having like arguments with Kate Moss or something like that. That was an old like hotel fight that he had, came out, and that was the media overhyping something, because Kate Moss and like Winona Ryder and all these people have come out and saying like, no, he's fine. He's never done anything like abusive to us. And they debunked all of this history that people think of Johnny Depp as a bad boy. He's a crazy weirdo, but he's not violent, and he doesn't like hurt.
I don't even think he's crazy. I just think he likes makeup.
He's a Hollywood.
He just likes makeup.
Like everyone.
He's like, what kind of movie? What kind of movie is this going to be? Can it be heavily makeup? No, I'm out.
Everyone in Hollywood at that level has it. Their lives are crazy. Yeah. No, their lives are crazy. They don't live normal like average lives. They're crazy. So him being a weirdo is one thing, but they still like I had to like step away from the thing one time because I posted up a thing about Amber Heard, and then they were all like, oh, but Johnny's also an ass. I'm like, how? Where? Proof? Like, what do you mean? They've all been debunked. He's the victim. He's the victim. If it was the other way around, you would not be trying to poke holes in the victim's like identity and story and all that stuff. Like this is super fucked up. And then there's still to this day, like there was another thing about Johnny Depp that they're like just dragging him for no reason, and I'm like, he's the victim. You know what I mean? Like he's not the bad guy, and so it's nowhere near even. and also because of the history that they have put on this guy, that he's never really retaliated against and stuff, there's this lingering negativity of like misandry against him or whatever. Not even misandry, like everyone just thinks he's a shitty guy for no reason, and I feel bad for him because he just lost this crazy job. They keep bringing, like, it will haunt him forever. And it's one of those things that if the situation had been reversed, he would have come out looking like a hero. He would have come out looking like a hero for defending himself. And no, I will not allow her to defame me in court and publish articles that are libelous and fraudulent. And then they would have rallied behind him, and he would have had all his slate cleared. You know what I mean? Like that. It's not the other way around.
It's fucked up.
And everyone should be in jail, not just fired.
Shit.
Well, I don't.
For taking a shit on somebody's bed? All right. I mean, you know.
No, for cutting a finger off.
No, you can't, like, that. There's, like, on a legal level, there has to be something against making false claims that way. Like, maybe not criminal, but on a civil level, for sure. I think.
I don't know. The president does it all the time.
Well, it's true. What
I said that as a joke, and both of you just looked so sad when you're like, yeah, he does.
Because it's not. But that's not. The punchline is also a tragedy.
I know.
I would say that so here's what I think happened, or here's my whole theory on the thing. I definitely want her fired. I don't want to fucking see her in Aquaman. I think that for the role
with Amelia Clark
or me, they I'll take it. I think that so here's my theory Mike, I agree with you 100%. I really do. And what I think happens is that from the perspective of the female brain, this one, I would say the following is that this happened, all of this popped off around on the heels of the Me Too and the Time's Up. And a lot of that, I think, looking back, turned into it was like vigilante justice. So it's like and because Weinstein set such a fucking high bar for it, that it was just kind of like the thing that you were doing. And a phrase that came out, a lot of people would come out and say was, when a woman claims something, believe her. And that is true, but I think that there needs to be something added to that. And I think they believe her is the same thing. I want to say, like, the Salem witch trials is like they just believed that you were a witch, and that's it. They fucking burned you at the stake. Believe her enough to look into it.
Believe victim.
Believe the person making the claim enough to look into it before you decide. Because if you just come out and say it, and in this context of like superstardom and celebrity, the consequences are he could never recover from this. Like, Melton fucked up how long ago, and like, what is he doing? I don't know.
I don't want to get into any more details, but you're talking on this podcast with two men on it. Both of them have been the victims of physical abuse, domestic abuse. Both. But because it's two men, the odds of us, and even when it happened, the social dynamic and the social contract was nowhere near a place where I could have said anything and not been laughed out of the room. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're a giant man. Why didn't you, you let some girl, whatever. In no way. Both 100% of the men on this show, both of us, are victims of some form of abuse, right? The relationship, whatever you want to call it. So it's not like it doesn't happen to us, but it was the social contract of the world has never allowed for us to be. That's like that Dave Chappelle joke where he's like, about men, like, it's like a man was arrested for raping, 6 men or whatever like that. It's like, wow, if they caught 6 men willing to say yes, he must have raped thousands. You know what I mean? Like, because there's nowhere for us to report it. Like, especially like it's not an uncommon thing. I've been around dudes where it's like, oh yeah, I used to get hit all the time and all this stuff, and this girl was crazy, and this girl was crazy, But that often gets dismissed because dudes are shitty too. It becomes this universal thing of like, hey, how about it's allow victims to be victims, regardless of the source.
Yeah.
But there's this bias that will never, without like intent, be changed from the female perspective of like, oh, you know, like what you just said, like you still kind of put them on the both same scale or whatever like that. It's not. I'm not saying you did it on purpose. I'm not saying, but like that's one of the main reasons why guys don't are not in a position to be as open and honest about abuse and emotional abuse and psychological abuse and all that stuff. That none of that is accepted. Nobody gives a shit about how a man feels.
And it's harder. It's not even about giving. I don't think it's necessarily about giving a shit. It's about believing that they actually feel.
Right.
It's like,
or that it has the same lingering effect.
No, but I'm saying, but it's like it's one of those things where you go, oh, your girl beat you or she hit you, right? But you go, oh yeah, but you're a big dude, so it didn't really hurt. Like, no, that's not the fucking point, though. That's not the point.
It's not that it didn't hurt.
Yeah, so it's not. It's like, yeah, it's not like, oh, you have a little scar on your chin, big fucking deal. Like it's a scar. You have facial hair. Nobody sees it. Like that's. I've had people tell me that, by the way, to my face. People tell me that,
right? Or somebody,
like to my face, and I'm like, oh my god, that's how you feel, like Jesus.
If we're moving away, I think 100%. I could say 100% of this panel has dealt with abuse. I'll say that much, and I would say that my experience is that when you open your mouth. And again, I'm agreeing with you, and I'm on your side on this.
That's terrible.
But what I'm saying is, as an abuse victim, I want to say a blanket statement, and I know that there are biases on both sides, but what you're doing when you open your mouth and you speak your pain and you speak your trauma is you're handing it over to somebody so that they can decide whether or not it's valid. That's what happens. And so if they don't believe you, then it's like the abuse sort of continues.
Oh, absolutely. Not sort of. Absolutely continues. Yeah.
No.
And
absolutely.
So what happened to me a few months ago, I was sitting in front of across somebody, and we were talking about an ex relationship of mine, and yeah, words were said, and at some point they're like, yeah, well, you know, like, and by the way, I've expressed, and words are like my thing. I've expressed with people that I trust the details of this situation. This person has had the privilege of knowing them, and they were like, yeah, well, you know, I was saying that at this point, I wish my ex nothing but the best. Like, I've moved on, whatever. And the relationship was with, and this person was like, yeah, well, you know, like, you were both assholes in this. So, like, there are no victims here. And I was like,
that's just fucking stupid.
What?
So I'm laughing because I know the story on a personal level from her. Like, I know the details and people who said it, and so I'm laughing out loud now to mask the outright frustration and anger of like the stupidity of that statement.
And this is somebody that had
front row seats.
There's a fallout, the before, during, and after. So what I'm saying to that is, I'm trying to say is that it sucks because you kind of never get your court. If you never get your day in court as an abuse victim. No, you don't. It just doesn't happen, because if I were to share the stories, or if I have shared the stories, you would never. It was hard for people to really believe that this was happening, because in publicly the relationship, I was like the bitch and he was like the nice guy. To the point where when we split up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose all my friends because they love him. He's great. And it didn't happen that way, but
false. Negative.
All that to say,
he was not great.
All that to say,
we did not love him.
All that to say, shut up. All that to say is that you never really get your day in court, and where unfortunately Johnny Depp is trying to get his day in court. He's actually, the libel case that he's coming, he has against her in the U.S. is for that article that she wrote. Sure. And so I'm hoping he does get some justice, because I mean, this was a court in London, so
justice for Johnny,
laws,
man.
Rules,
justice
for
Johnny.
So, but I would love to see her fired, and I'm rooting for that, because I think that on top of all the shit of her, like holding her accountable for her behavior and the way that she's fucking flipped it, because she leveraged her position of power in that time because of Me Too and Time's Up, to flip it on him for sure, 100%. But also, I feel like she's not gonna, like, then because of that, like, the consequences have to be
fair.
Because on top of that, the conversation that women are trying to have is to move this conversation forward. My personal stance is, like, I tell Neri all the time, I think I'm a bad feminist, because I don't think the point here is to prove that one gender is better than the other. We're just trying to have a conversation to level the playing field. But what ends up happening is in the overcorrection, you leave all these men on the side of the fucking road that have something to contribute.
Well,
and
so I understand what you're saying,
Wait,
and to because this is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, this is a whole other conversation. And I kind of don't like. I want to get into it, but if my wife and her family are waiting for me to eat dinner, and if I don't get out now, then there's gonna be another domestic. There's gonna be another shit where I get hit again.
There's another "Am I the asshole?"
Yeah, there's gonna be another. There's gonna be another like Neri got hit again. Like he has 2 scars in his fucking face now. So we gotta wrap. But I do want to continue the conversation, but we will at another point in time. Mike, your other podcast. What's the name of the other podcast, or where can they find it?
Mike contextualizes the universe at on the Missing Sock Network.
At Missing Sock, was it Missing? Is it Missing Sock?
It's well, you can go to the patreon.com/Missing Sock if you want to throw money at us and get access to bonus stuff for all the shows on the network, and then you can also go to follow me at Mike Mercadal, MikeMercadal, for all of the links to the shows. It's all in my pinned tweet.
All right, and then Missy, the writer, is on Instagram as Missy the Writer, and her website is missywrites.com. So make sure you check that out. We have very strong opinions about this, but again, because of time, to the listener, by the way, FYI, not that you need to know the full fucking, but we're recording like 2 hours earlier than we normally do because Mike's got shit to do. He's got to put on a fucking.
He's so bored now.
He's
got to put on a backpack and go hiking in the woods like a fucking crazy man. Go check out my website, neryscience.com, or whatwashisname.com. Check out the other podcasts on the Geekmore Network, including Better Let Me Tell You, including the Mount Geekmore podcast, which has a brand new logo out. Well, it's about to be released. We haven't released it yet, but it's about to be released. New logo. I'm very excited. I get excited over new logos. Mount Geekmore podcast, Better Let Me Tell You podcast, Child Like at Best with Mike Valdez. Go to geekbro.net, listen to us, and you can go to, if you want to listen to Mount Geekmore, you could also go to the Helium Podcast Network. They're available on the Helium Podcast Network, so check that out. All right, you guys have been great. That's how winning is done. Bye.
Every time.